Hey there, this is John Barton from JB Cases. So this week we're working on new interiors, and in that I usually will pull apart cases and kind of study them and see what's going on. I also want to see what's inside those cases, and I've noticed a disturbing trend. I guess I don't know where this is coming from or why it is the way it is, but it's really horrible in queue protection, and I really haven't, I started to see it a few years ago in one particular knockoff case. I've seen it in years past. I saw another, famous brand of case where when I opened it up, the liner only went halfway down in the case for whatever reason. But those were individual tubes, so at least the cues were kept in individual tubes, but the liner was only halfway down. Now what I'm seeing is a trend of the liner going down and leaving like 2 to 3 inches or more exposed, so that when the cues go down, they don't have any protection whatsoever at the bottom of the case. And it's really creeping me out. I don't know why, but here's the major problem with this. When stuff falls into the case, it's not contained inside that cavity. So actually, that's the secondary problem. The major problem is that when the cues go down in there, they can clack against each other with every jolt, every bump in the road, every pothole. Every time you drop your case or you get bumped, the cues can just knock against each other inside the case. And surely people can't want that. They if they knew that was happening, they probably wouldn't want it. So, but it's down in the bottom of the case where the last 10% of the case, and people can't even see it. They don't see that it's happening. They may hear their cues rattling once in a while, and not really know that means those cues are actually hitting each other. So the last one, I just pulled this case apart over here. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you the outer shell first. So some of you may recognize this style of case. Customer who bought it basically left it at our shop, or he left it at our booth, and you can see how that's all torn up. And the reason that it's torn up is because they go and they put this across one part of the case. Silly looking, I know. I guess they thought that it would strengthen this and everything, but it doesn't really. All it does is add more perforation. It basically perforates this material. And I know I'm going a little off track, but I have to tell it to you like that. I'm going to go ahead and tear this so you can see it, because I don't feel like getting a knife and cutting it. But I want to show you what happens here. So what they've done is they've sewn this on the back of the case, but what happens is it perforates. See how badly? Oh man, I got to pull this out so you guys can really see it. See how shitty they did it? Look at this. Even if this would work, even if that would work to sandwich that in between these two pieces, what they've done is, look how badly they did that right there. It's like just part of it, on there. It doesn't even come all the way down, but they perforate the material, so it ends up making this part weaker. See how easy that is to tear? It tears right along that sewing line. You see that? So I'm getting a little bit off track here, but you see how easy it is to just rip that stuff up when it's like that? Because they don't understand what the hell they're doing, And then when they make it, they don't even do this. They don't even test it like I just did. I mean, if it had been my shop that this was made in, the first thing I would do is try to pull it apart. Everybody who works for me knows that. They know that the first thing I'm going to do when they make something is I'm going to try to tear it apart. So I don't understand why these other shops don't do it. No, you know what? I take that back. I take it back. I do understand why they don't do it. The reason that they don't do it is because the importer who's importing the case doesn't know shit about case making, doesn't care. The only thing they care about is selling it and hoping then that they never see you again. So by the time the case has no warranty anyway, So by the time it breaks, you know, they expect you to just say, oh, well, you know, it's just the way it is. Stuff breaks and just go buy another one. But I reject that argument, you know, because there's goods out there. We all know we buy things. Some things we buy last forever. And the reason that they last forever is because somebody cared enough to build it so that it doesn't fall apart easily from normal use. And we all know that there's crappy things that are built. So we know that. So those are on the crappy end of the spectrum. But here's the really disturbing thing that I discovered when I opened this case up. So I'm going to show you this. This is the top of the case. And as you can see already, you know, the cues are likely to be loose in that right there. But this is the bottom of the case, right? So this is what I pulled out of the bottom. Now, when I opened it up, excuse me. When I opened it up, before I even got the bottom off, I didn't have to take anything apart. It was already torn up at the bottom. So all this stuff was already loose at the bottom. You see that little bit of tape is still on there? That's it. It wasn't all the way taped. It was literally like this, something like that right there when I opened it. And then I saw this little chain, a little part of the chain in there. So I was like, oh, what's that, right? So I opened it up, found out that it's a dog tag. Now, this is a promotional dog tag here that says on here, because I wanted to make sure that nobody in the military lost their dog tags or something that maybe they want it back. And it says Linda Palt, Ride the 9 Designs. I don't know if you guys can see that here. Let me see if I can. There you go. Linda Palt, Ride the 9 Design. That's a promotional thing that she put out a while back, and I guess somebody, you know, dropped it in their case. But are you ready for the fun part on this? Here we go. So this is the foam rubber that's at the bottom of the case. This is a piece of cardboard just kind of hanging out in there. I don't know why. It's not glued together or anything. Then here's another piece of EVA. So let's look. Check it out. This goes down in here that much, right? So we'll stick that in there like it's supposed to be, I guess. Piece of cardboard. And then this was, that was on top of the cardboard. So that's the interior part, right? Okay. So you get the idea that the foam rubber stops right about there, right? Check this out. If this doesn't make you sick about this pool cue case and how it's made, then you deserve everything that happens to your cues. You know, your cues get broken, cracks, dings, the glue joints start coming apart, whatever, scratches. You deserve it all. If you think this doesn't make you sick, what I'm going to show you, then you don't care about your pool cues, and you don't care about anybody else's pool cues. This is, I can't even hardly show it on here. See where those dividers end in here? I'm going to put my finger in there to show you. I'm going to take this off because it's bothering me, okay? So just remember, this and this, that's as deep as this foam rubber goes. There's the bottom. You can see all the chalk on there. The cavity ends, I'm going to put my finger right on where it is. So right there. So right here. I'm looking like I'm making gang signs or something. So that's where the cavity ends. The bottom of my thumb. So look at that. What is that? About 2 inches or so of empty space. Now, even worse than that is, give me 1 second. I got to show you this. I got to find a charger here. Hopefully it has some battery on it. Here, I'll just move the camera over here and plug this in so you guys can see it. Sorry, I have a light here and I have to plug it into a USB so you guys can see it. It's one of these makeup lights or ring lights. it doesn't have its own battery. So, all right, here we go. Because this is important right now. You know, I make these videos a lot, and I harp on this stuff. And the reason that I harp on it is because I value my shit, all right? I don't want my cues damaged. I don't want them, you know, I want them playable. I don't want them damaged. And there we go. Let's get that full brightness so we can see it. All right, check this out. See that? Look how deep that is in there. This is the bottom of the case, people. Look. Cues go in here, right? Cues go in there. And they live down here. So first of all, look at this. This is thin nylon. This is paper thin. This is even probably thinner than paper. That right there is all that's protecting your cue. Or in this case, not protecting your cue. But even worse, for whatever freaking reason, who knows why, they just decided that it would be okay to leave like 2 inches of air in there. So not only your cues would be clacking together in this thing anyway, even if it was all nylon all the way down, but with the air in there, they're actually hitting each other physically with nothing in between. Nothing in between at all. Now, beyond that, you imagine this stuck in here, traveling around everywhere, being able to intertwine with all the cues. This sharp edge here can ride up in your inside the cavities, can go anywhere, you know? So imagine you've got a cue and you've got that thing stuck in there like that, you know, and every time you bump and jiggle, right, and move around, this is what happens. That's what happens inside the case, right there. Here, I'm going to put this all in here like this. There, see where it's at? All right, fine. Now where is it? You see what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, if that doesn't make you sick, then you don't care. You don't care about your cues. You don't care about anybody's cues. You don't care about the hard work that goes into making cues. You don't give a shit, you know? In your mind, if you think that that's okay, then you love broken cues. That's all. You like your cues to be dinged. You like them to clatter against each other. You like them to get unexplained buzzes and noises in them, you know, and hairline cracks internally. You like the joints to be broken down. These are the kind of things that you like if you like this type of interior. And here's the shitty part. These people steal from you. You know, it's not... Where did I throw that thing? It's not enough. It's not enough that they sell you this junk that by itself was going to fall apart, right? It's not enough that they sell you this crap, but then they got to go and build interiors, the actual case part of the case. They have to build interiors that are actually harmful to your cue. I mean, come the fuck on. Sorry, you know, I don't know any other way to say it, but come on. At least put a minimum of freaking security in there and don't do shit like this. Now, you may say to yourself, you might be saying to yourself, okay, fine, that's cheap crap, right? So you get what you pay for. I hear this a lot, right? I hear this a lot. You get what you pay for. And I want to make something clear right now. This video that I'm doing right now, this is not scripted, not planned. This all comes about because I am doing what I always do, which is to take cases apart and study them and see, hoping, you know, that they did something better than we do it, so I can learn something and I can make the cases even better. But when I find out that when I find out that not only are they not doing things better than us, they're not doing it as good as us, they're even doing things that are dangerous to the cue. Ridiculously dangerous. I mean, look, we're talking about like 2 cents worth of material. Not even that, right? Like a fraction of a freaking penny in material and like 5 cents in freaking labor to extend the cavities all the way to the bottom. I mean, how hard is that really, right? And so you may say to yourself, well, what do you expect? You get what you pay for. Let's call that $100 case, right? You get what you pay for. Are you? If you spent $100 on that case and it damaged your queue, are you getting what you paid for? Do you think that you should pay $100 and get a case that not only does not protect your queue, it actually is built in a way that almost ensures that your queue is going to get damaged in some way? So when you buy a case for $100, do you expect it to damage your queue? Are you getting what you paid for when you do that? I mean, I hear this all the time. People say that, they say, oh, a JB case costs $400. By the way, it doesn't cost $400. Our cases start at like $50 and they go up to $2,500. So it could be anywhere in between. And the average price of our rugged case, by the way, the average price right now, the average price of our case is right about $200. So it doesn't matter what you pay for a JB case, whether it's $50, $200, $250, $300, $400, you're going to get top level protection, considered, developed, researched protection, well padded, well done, well maintained. You're going to get that no matter how much you spend with JB cases. That's the minimum that you get, because that's what a case is for, is protecting your damn queue. You don't want to get to the pool room and find out, oh, my queue now has a buzz in it, right? Or it has a crack, or there's an unexplained scratch and shit like that. You don't want that. You buy your queue to play with. You love your queue, We love your queue too. I love your queue because I'm a pool player. I buy cues. I appreciate my cues. I do not want them hurt. The whole reason I started this company is because my cue fell out of a case, broke the butt cap, and I had to ship it back to America. I was in Germany to get it fixed. And while it was gone, I was like, you know what? I'm going to rebuild this case so that it holds my cues in until I want to take them out. And that's what I did. And from there, I just continued on and kept building better and better interiors. And here we are. But what I can't understand, I've seen a lot of people try to copy us in different ways. And what I can't understand is, why the hell don't they copy the most important part? Why not? If someone came out with an interior and it was exactly like ours, right? People think, oh, I'd be upset. I would not be upset. Do you know why I wouldn't be upset? Because I would see that as an improvement to the entire industry sector that is Q cases. I would feel like I made a significant contribution to Q cases if every Q case maker that is able to were to copy my interior. If they made an advertisement and they came out and they said, this is a JB interior, this is a XYZ knockoff, but we copied it exactly, and they could prove it, that would be great for all of you. It would mean that your choices for protective cases have just expanded. That's what competition is all about. But what these assholes really do, which is, it's mind-boggling to me, what these assholes really do is they copy part of the look so that when you look into the case, it looks like ours, And then that promise, that security promise that they give you, here. This is ours. That's one of ours. Here's another one. Where's the case? Here's another one. Look, this is the current interior. Just want to show you. See that? That's nice and cushy, and everybody looks at that and they feel good and they're like, oh, that looks great, that's definitely gonna be a lot of padding around my cues, which it is. So when a knockoff comes along and you look at it and you're like, oh, that looks like a JB interior, you're gonna feel like your cue is going to be well protected, like it is in a JB interior. But then what these assholes do is they take that promise away past the first 6 inches. Wherever your fingers can get to, that's all they show you. And I'll show you. I'm going to prove that to you. And this is what pisses me off. When they say you get what you pay for, or people say that, no. A lot of the times you're not getting what you pay for because you think you're getting something else. You're definitely not paying for cases that damage your cues or have a potential to damage your cues. I know you're not paying for that. There's nobody in my customer audience here is going to say, I buy cases expecting them to damage my cues, and be truthful about it. Go ahead. I don't think anybody's going to say that. And I know for sure that cue makers who spend a lot of money or a lot of time building and crafting a really nice cue, they don't want their cues damaged by the case. They don't want that. They want their cues to stay in pristine condition, or in working condition. They don't want somebody to come back to them and say, my cue has a buzz in it, or it has a rattle, or whatever. And then they don't want to have to think that the case did that to the cue that they built. Now they got to deal with the customer because of the fact that the case was inadequate and allowed the cues to just rattle around and hit each other and be more prone to damage. I mean, come on. So I'm going to show you guys 2 cases here. I just explained to you about that one where I pulled it off and it's got that dog tag in it. That's still, it amazes me when I open this shit up and I find stuff like that. This case I'm going to show you right now, I took it in on trade. I keep saying that. I didn't trade on this one, I bought it. So the customer bought a case from me and I asked him, I said, how much do you want for your case? And he sold it to me. When I opened it up, and I did this live on video in front of witnesses, I opened it up because I knew that this case already had that type of problem where they're missing several inches of interior. And I had highlighted this 3 years ago. 3 years ago. When I first saw these knockoffs and I took one apart. I did like an hour-long video or a 2-hour-long video on this whole knockoff shit and the same subject. And I highlighted this. 3 years later, they still haven't fixed the problem. What does that say about these assholes and what they think about your stuff? What they think about your cues? And I don't care if your cue is a $100 cue or it's a $500 cue or $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. The fact is that these assholes do not care about your equipment. They don't. If they did, they wouldn't do this. That's my opinion on this, all right? So just for the lawyers, that's my opinion, my experienced opinion with 30 years in this business as a case maker. It's my opinion that the assholes building these cases don't care about your stuff. And the assholes importing and selling these cases to you, they don't care about your stuff. And it's especially heinous, it's especially aggravating, and especially malicious in my opinion. Okay? In my opinion, it even rises to the level of fraud when they sell you a case using advertising that says this case is strong, it's protective, it's heavy duty, it's durable. And then you open it up and you find this shit that I'm going to show you. Look at this. Thin fabric, missing 2 or 3 inches of fabric to where the foam rubber starts at the end of the case. So when I opened this case up, I found a lot of quarters in there, like almost a full roll of quarters. So you saw what I just told you about that dog tag traveling around. You imagine to yourself now, if there's a whole roll of quarters in here and it's closed up and this thing's bouncing around and everything, and you know the edges of quarters are serrated. So how do you feel about this? How do you feel? And hang on, don't leave because it gets better. This is, you know. How do you feel about this? Figure out where the camera is on there. There it is. Look at this. Trying to get this to focus on here. Anyway, everybody knows what a quarter is, right? You can feel the edges are serrated on there. I mean, it's bad enough that there's freaking small pieces of metal. It's bad enough that small pieces of metal are just hanging out randomly in the bottom of your case, right? But you imagine a whole handful of these, a whole handful of quarters, being able to just jostle around, travel up and down in the cavities, you know, get wedged in, get stuck, cues clacking against them. I mean, come the fuck on. Really? 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 God, it irritates me. It pisses me off because these guys are fucking liars. You know? They're fucking liars. They want to ride on my coattails. They want to build interiors that look like ours at the top. So here's what I'm talking about. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? Doesn't that look nice? Padding in there, right? Looks like our interior, right? Make you feel comfortable? Make you feel secure? Great, right? Okay. Let's, where's my cues here? Let's grab a cue. Okay? Say we put our cue in this way. You like it hanging out in space there? Right? How about we throw some change in there? You want to throw some money in there? How does that feel? Sound good? Where's it at? Where's the money at? Oh, look at that. How about now? See what I'm saying? Think about that. And then, you know, I'm just going to, here. Where's the fucking bottom of this thing? Here it is, right here. Look at this. This is what was in the bottom. See these nails sticking up here? So it's not only that, this was the bottom inside of it, right there. So it was like this. When I opened it up, this is what was in the bottom of the case, like that. It's not glued down or anything like that. There's zero glue on here, no glue residue, nothing. I mean, come on, really? Like nobody at the factory could take a few minutes and glue this up and glue it together, right? So this was curling up inside there. It's got lots of space to move. So look at this. This is the bottom, right? Look at it. That's how it goes on right there. That's the space that you have in there. I don't know if you can really get that, but it literally is like this. We'll do the finger test again, right? Put my finger in. You can see where it goes. So my finger is stopping right there. I'm not exaggerating it. I'm actually giving them extra. I'm just stopping right where the fabric ends. By the way, the fabric is torn. So you guys can see that. Let's see, where is that? Right there. So I'll put my thumb right there. This is where the foam rubber ends. So all that empty space between where my thumb ends and where that white piece of foam rubber is, that's empty space. Empty space where your cues can clatter against each other, where shit can get in there and just travel around and go in and out of every cavity with every bump everywhere. So is that what you guys want? You know? Now, Is that what you expected? Is that what you, when people say you get what you pay for, is that what you paid for? Now this case here, they advertise this online for $225 or something like that. I might not be exact on the price. This asshole said he was going to sue me because I said that his warranty was 90 days, and he comes up and he goes, my warranty's 180 days. Well, as far as I remember, it used to be 90 days. But 90 days or 100 days, it doesn't matter. Did you pay for this? Is that even something that they warranty? Do they warranty your cues against your cues being damaged? I think they should recall every single one of these fucking cases that they've ever made. And if we had any kind of strong trade organization, or if we had a Consumer Reports or the Federal Trade Commission, whatever, they would have to do it. But they already know they can get away with this shit. They know they can steal from you, the customer, and it doesn't matter. This is listed as $225, right? And when you do this, you think, oh yeah, that looks like a JB. Yeah, that ought to be protective, right? I mean, any normal person would look in there and go, yeah, that feels good. I feel padding. That's great. You know how far the padding goes in here? The good padding, you know how far it goes? It goes to right here. Right here. That's it. As far as you can reach. So that's it. Then they take it away from you. And then they short you an extra 2 or 3 inches of interior at the bottom, so shit can just go down there and go up and down, and the cues can hit each other. I mean, come the hell on. Come on. Here's the thing. I would bet that I will take my case, my 4x8, this is a 4x8, I would take my 4x8, fill it up with expensive cues, and I'll go like this with it. I'll go like this and slam it on the ground, just like that. I'll do that with my case. And it doesn't matter if I've got $20,000 in cues in there. I'll do it with that. I want to ask you guys a question. The guy that brings these cases in, the guy that's making these knockoffs, or I say bringing in the knockoffs and branding them under his name, he's a cue collector. He's a cue dealer. He deals in high-end cues. Do you think that he would take his most expensive cues, fill it up in that case like that, and do exactly what I just did? So, do you think that he would do it if he knew that the interior was like that? So he might say to you, yeah, I'll do that, right? But then if he knew that the interior was going to allow those cues to violently hit against each other, to violently crash against each other, do you think that he would actually follow through with that and risk his cues? I don't think he would. I don't think he would. But if he wants to try, and his name is Michael Huang, his company is Omega Billiards, the brand of the case is ACME. Here. ACME. So, if he wants to try it, let's go. Let's do it. This guy wanted to bet me $50,000 because I keep saying that these are knockoffs, and he was gonna somehow prove that this is not a knockoff of our case. And that shit was all fake. He lied to the police and tried to get me in trouble that way. That's a whole other story, okay? The main thing right now, though, is, did you get what you pay for? If you paid $225, would that be worth it? Well, you can't. You can't buy that case for $225. because on their website, they scratch out that price and it says like $185 or something. It's about 20% off. But when you go to a show, especially shows where we're at, this was his answer to me taking the case apart. He never did this, what I'm about to tell you, until I took the case apart and I went through it and I, made a long ranting video about what I'm ranting about now, but now I'm even angrier when I see this shit. His response was to have a booth right across from me and put out there any size ACME case for $97. So the case that he's got advertised online for $225, which he never charges anybody that. So it's $185 if you buy it online or whatever, somewhere around there. You can go to a show and you can buy it for $97. Sounds like a great deal, right? You're getting a $225 case for $97. Who wouldn't do that? That's like you walk out of the show and you're like, hey, check it out. And somebody's like, that's not a JB. And you're like, who fucking cares? Because it's $97. But even for $97, I don't think there's anybody out there that's going to tell me that for $97, if they knew that the case was probably going to hurt their Qs, possibly, large probability, okay? Keep in mind, I haven't done the test. I'm sorry. I don't even have enough cheap Qs to try to damage them the way that I think they're going to be damaged in this case. But I promise you that this is not good, okay? Not good at all. Nobody is going to say that $97, it's okay to pay $97 if the Q case can damage their Q. Nobody's going to say it's worth that. You get what you pay for, right? And of course, they're not going to advertise it. This case may damage your Q, but it's only $97. Is that okay? You know what I mean? Come on. Nobody, not even the dumbest fucking person on earth, is going to think that that's okay. Right? Even my 10-year-old and my 6-year-old can recognize that that's not okay. All right, so we got the artificial price loss leader bullshit, right, that they're selling you. And they advertise, by the way, that their cases are super strong and they've got double reinforced XYZs or what the fuck ever. You know? That's their advertisement, right? We have super strong zippers and all this. I could go on for days with this fucking case. This thing's a piece of shit. But yeah, I'm a competitor. So if I say it's a piece of shit, you as a consumer are not supposed to believe me, right? Plus, I'm going against all the conventional wisdom, never talk shit about your competitor and so on. Look, I'm going to tell you something. My competition, everybody, anybody making cases, anybody importing cases, talk shit about me all you want. Go ahead. If you find something wrong with my case and you want to highlight it and tell everybody, go for it. And if it's really wrong, I'll fix it immediately. Like the next day, the cases will be fixed. But make sure you're on solid ground, because I am. So, unfortunately for you guys, I'm the closest thing to Consumer Reports that you're going to have for the Q case part of the billiard industry. And honestly, the first half of my career in this industry, I got fucked over by distributors. I got fucked over by partners. And the second half of my career with JB Cases, I'm not beholden to any of them. I'm not beholden to any single customer, whether it's a distributor, whether it's a big company, a small company, a small distributor, and I'm not beholden to any individual customer either. So you know what that means? It means I've got the freedom to stand here and say what the fuck I want about these cases and not fear losing an order. Like, the distributors that I sold cases to when I owned InStroke, they copied my cases. Copied them. Copied the look, everything about it. Brought them in and put them side by side against my cases. Knowing that I couldn't do shit about it or I'd lose their order. You know? Like if I lost their order, it would really hurt. So now I don't worry about it, you know, because I don't care. Anybody wants to bring in copies of my stuff? Fine, go ahead. You're not going to sell my stuff on top of it or alongside of it. That's not going to happen. Or you're not going to buy it. You're not going to be getting cases from me. So you can sell all the knockoffs you want, but I'm not going to let you sell my case and a knockoff right beside it and then have to tell people, you know, because I know you're not going to be honest with them. You're not going to tell people, well, this is a piece of shit knockoff that may damage your queue, but it's cheaper. That's not what you're going to say. So I already know that. So because you're not going to be honest and because you can't be honest, then you're not going to be able to sell my cases in the same space that you're selling these knockoffs. That's it. That goes for everybody. You know, every dealer, everybody out there. In this situation, you got to make a choice. You want to sell your customers quality that you can depend on, quality that has a lifetime warranty, then you'll sell our stuff. You know, if you want to sell them junk that can damage their queues, that looks like our stuff, go ahead. All right, but anyway, I'm getting off topic. You get what you pay for. So we're clear on that point, right? Nobody pays. I don't care if it's $97, $95, $83. I don't care if it's $20. Nobody buys a pool cue case with the expectation that that case can contribute to or cause damage to their queue. Right? Are we all clear on that? So, let's debunk that whole you get what you pay for bullshit, because you're not getting what you pay for. In these situations where they're leaving, you know, space open at the bottom, you're not getting what you pay for. You're getting less than you pay for. Okay? No matter what the price is, you're getting less than you pay for. All right. So you might say to yourself, well, okay, great. Those are cheap knockoffs. You know, what do you expect, right? These guys are just trying to get the lowest price. They're trying to sell it to us for the lowest price. What do you expect? All right, fine. How about this one? That's nice, isn't it? Oh, well, hell, I forgot that I had a cue in it. Now look at that. It just fell on the floor. Hope it didn't break the pin. Let me tell you this. If that cue had been in our interior with no bottom on it, the cue wouldn't have fallen out. Why not? Because we engineer the interior to hold the damn cue inside of it until when? Until you want to take it out. Until you physically reach into the fucking case, grab a part, and take it out. That's when the cue gets removed from the case. Simple, isn't it? Isn't that a simple concept? I mean, it's a really simple, easy concept, right? All right, well, check this out. This case was $1,200, I was told. Okay? So I was told that this case was $1,200. Right? Beautiful case, isn't it? Isn't that pretty? What brand is it? The Vampire brand. So that's a whole story into itself. This guy chose the name Volturi for his cases. The Volturi is a made-up word. It's in the Twilight series. It means like the old super race of vampires or something like that. So basically, just to kind of distill it all down, he named his case brand after blood-sucking parasites that prey on the human race. Okay? Just thought you'd want to know that. So now you'll understand why. This case has, amazingly, I don't know, what is that? I can't even get my finger that far in there where it stops. Here, I'll get it right here. So it's all the way, look at that. It's all the way to here. Right here. Now let's see where the This is the bottom of that case. Let's see where this stops. So assuming that goes on the bottom right there, that's how much space extra from the end of this rubber right here to the end of my finger. That's the amount of empty space in this case. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if you have padding at the top like this, and you have empty space down here, that every time you get any kind of bumps, this shit's going to be touching. All your parts are going to be touching, you know? But then, just like with the dog tags and the quarters, what happens if some shit falls down in here? Well, now you got a whole good mixing bowl right there for all that shit to fuck with your cues. People, this isn't a joke to me. You know, this is my livelihood. This is it. I don't sell pool cues, right? I don't make shoes or do any other business other than make pool cue cases. So sometimes people will say, well, you're just jealous. You're jealous because this guy can sell cases for $97 and you can't. You know? You're jealous. You think you should just control the whole cue case market. Really? Really? You know? We make like 1,500 cases a year, maybe, at that. So there's millions of cue case customers out there. There's tens of thousands, if not more, hundreds of thousands of people out there who are buying cues in the 500 and up range, right? So I can make cases my whole life, my entire life, and sell every case we make and still never satisfy the market, the appetite for pool cue cases. So how on earth would I ever, even if I wanted to, how on earth would I ever control the whole cue case market? How on earth would I ever be able to be the only person selling pool cue cases ever? Okay? That's just not possible to do. Right? Even if I had $100 million fucking dollars, I still couldn't do it. You know why? Because I could go out and buy all the case makers and buy all the factories that make cases, and that still wouldn't stop people from opening up a new factory and making cases, you know? So think about that let's think logically for a second, right? I sell everything I make anyway. All right? We sell every case we make, so I'm never worried about that. I'm not worried about selling cases. We have good relationships with our customers. We do full custom. I mean, there's beyond the protection of the case, beyond the protection, there's a ton of reasons why you want to buy from us, why someone would want to buy from us. You know, it's the comfort, it's the ergonomics, it's the durability of the case. Of course, it's the protection. It's a lifetime warranty. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other features that people get out of JB cases that are reasons enough to buy our cases, aside from the protection. So I don't worry about it. I have no problem selling cases. But what pisses me off is when there are other brands out there and other case makers who make fucking claims that they cannot back up. They want to talk about how secure they are and how they protect. And then I open up their case and I see this shit. And I'm like, really? Really? I mean, think about it for a second. If I walked in a pool room, right? If I walked in a pool room and I said, nobody here can beat me, right? There's nobody in this whole state can beat me. Well, you know what would happen? A line would form, you know? And that line, everybody would play me until I ran out of money, which wouldn't be very long because there's a lot of people who can beat me. In other words, they would say to me, prove it. Prove it. Okay? You said it, now prove it. But in the pool cue case part of this business, someone can walk in and say, hey, our case is super strong. It's got super strong zippers. It's super protective. You know, we're awesome. Or they can imply it to you by making interiors that look padded. They can imply that where you look at it and you're like, yeah, that looks a lot like a JB case. It's probably super strong and super protective and, you know, super everything. But they don't have to prove it to you. That's the thing. They say, give us your money. We claim to be XYZ, but we don't have to prove it. You know why? Because we know that you're not going to take the case apart. We know that. So no worries. What? Your cue got damaged in our case? That's on you, not us. We didn't do it. Sorry. You know, I have a guy, a friend of mine. He's got 4 or 5 of my cases. He's sending me his case right now. He says to me, I think that the case is causing a scratch somehow on my cues, on my leather wrap. So I said to him, send me the case. I've got a cue with a similar wrap. It's a tiger stack wrap. It's brand new, my cue. You know, it's probably got like a couple hours of play on it at best, not even that. And the wrap is in perfect condition. I will try to duplicate it. I will try to duplicate the problem that you're having on video, and I'll show you. And if I can make this wrap get scratched in the way that you've described through the use of my case, not only will I repair the case, obviously I'm going to repair the case no matter what. I'll replace the interior anyway. But not only will I repair the case, but I will pay for your wrap. I'll pay for your cues to be restored back to where they should be. I'll pay if it need be. I'll pay for a new wrap. I think tiger wraps are like $150 a piece, or even more. I don't know. But if that's what has to be done, that's what will be done. And I will be horrified that the interior that we built damaged his cues in any way. I would be horrified. And I would endeavor to make sure that it can't ever happen again to anybody's cues. That's what I'm all about as a case maker. So that's why I get so damn mad when I see these cheaters, and I call them cheaters. Michael Huang, I'm calling you a cheater. In my opinion, you're a cheater. Okay? What's the Volturi dude's name? Fuck, I forgot. You think I'd never forget that asshole's name. Roger Asumcow, right? Asumcow. Yeah, it's great. Roger Asumcow with your parasite cases. I'm calling you a cheater. I'm calling you a liar. I'm calling you a defraud. That's not even a word. Defrauder. I'm calling you a con artist who defrauds your customers. That's what I'm calling you. It doesn't matter how pretty the case is. This case is beautiful. This case is beautiful, you know, it's wonderful. Looks great. It's not all hand tooled, as he claims, right? He claims that he sits there and master tools it and all this shit. He doesn't. This is all laser engraved, and then it's got some tooling in there. It's got some highlighting in there to give it some structure, so it's partially tooled. But he didn't do all this carving. He didn't get the little swivel knife and carve all that out. That's every flower, every piece, everything you see on here is laser engraved. And then it's embellished with leatherworking tools, okay? But it's a pretty case, you know? It's nicely done. It has a nice, the work looks nice on there. But then, this asshole forgot the most important part. Protecting the damn cue. Think about that. Think about the fact that the gentleman who bought this case, first of all, The only reason I have this case is because this guy was so disgusted with Volturi. After waiting so long, he gets the wrong size case. So all this, name, everything, he gets the wrong size case after waiting so long. So vampire case dude goes, hey, no problem, I'll make you a new one. Except with that guy, it's always a problem because he doesn't do things right the first time, so he never has time to do it right the second time. So this dude waits and waits and waits and waits, never gets the case, finally gets disgusted and says to me, hey, can I trade this in for you for a credit? He traded this to me for $600 in case credit. I paid $600 to own this piece of shit. So and you know what? Until yesterday was the first time that I sat there and took this apart. Right? I haven't taken the bottom off of one of these in 10 years. First time I took one apart to see what was inside. And then I find that it's missing like, what is that? Like 4 inches? It's missing like 4 fucking inches of padding. It's not even padding. It's missing 4 inches of interior. I mean, come the fuck on. And this asshole, one time thought he was going to get me, and he traded someone his case for a JB case, leather case, beautiful leather case, and then he takes it apart, and he opens it up, and he goes, look, cardboard, right? I'm going to call John Barton Captain Cardboard. We don't use cardboard in our case. Well, you don't use fucking interior liner either, you asshole. You know? How about you focus on protecting the queue first, and then you can talk about how the rest of the case is built. By the way, I just want to say something about that. Sorry I'm rambling, but this shit pisses me off. This is what he called cardboard. Okay? So we use this to strengthen various parts of the case. And if we use like a leather, for example, that is a lighter weight leather, we'll bond it to this. Now, do you know what this is? You guys can look it up. You can look it up. It says, it comes under all kinds of names. So you might not even find anything here, but you can look this up. Cellulose board. Cellulose board. So this is made of fiber. It's woven. It's got a feel like cardboard, but it's stronger than cardboard, and it doesn't allow microbes to grow on it. It's antibacterial. It's what they use in tennis shoes. So if you ever crush the heel of your tennis shoe and it springs back up, the structure of your shoe, that's where that comes from. I didn't invent it. I bought it from the shoe industry. When I went to a big town in China that makes shoes, they have tons of factories making shoes, and they have markets that are blocks long selling supplies for making shoes. So that's where I got it, from a $100 billion industry. I don't even know how big the shoe industry is, but I'm pretty sure it's hundreds of billions. That's what they use to make high-end shoes. That's what we use to make our cases when we need it, for the purpose of strengthening it, just like they do in shoes. So this asshole wants to go and call me Captain Cardboard and try to take my beautiful case apart and tried to put us down because of it. I just flipped it on him, and I took his picture and I pointed out all the strength things that we do inside the case to make it stronger. So this is just a delicious piece of irony that I take this dickhead's $1,200 case apart, that he charged this poor customer $1,200 and then dogged him, that I take it apart and he's missing 4 inches. Is that 4 inches? I don't know. Hey, honey, is my penis longer or shorter than this? She said it's longer. So this is definitely less than 5 inches. But I would go with 4 right there. Thank you, darling. So, should we edit that out? No, I don't edit anything out. So anyway, you guys got my point, right? I know this has been an hour. It's taken long. But for real, man, you don't get what you pay for with these assholes, because nobody pays for a case in the expectation that it's going to damage their queue, or that it's going to contribute to damage to their queue. Nobody pays for that. So there you go. You decide, you know? There's only so many cases we can make per year. So if you want one, that's it. We make the... What am I even trying to say there? I'm stupid. There's always going to be a JB case out there for you if you want one. But I just want you to consider that just because something looks like... Just because it looks like it's padded doesn't mean that it really is. And then when they cheat you out of 5 cents of material, you know, and 10 cents of labor, and don't even extend the cavities all the way down, not only have they cheated you, now they're, in my opinion, defrauding you. Okay? By the way, every negative thing that I say about all these assholes is all my opinion. Okay? So as far as the legal framework goes, it's all my opinion. All right? You're more than welcome to take them apart, whatever. But if any of you guys want to sue me for defamation, let's go. I am happy to show up in court with your fucking products. All right? So, let's go. They're not going to